All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to, once again, Terence Crawford is giving interviews and placing blame on Errol Spence and the PBC for the fight not taking place. Have got a lot of notes from people about why people continue to talk about this subject. I will explain to you exactly why that is and what is wrong with what Terence Crawford is saying in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division. Terence Crawford is on a promotional tour for his fight with David Avancian, and his tour keeps running into the name Errol Spence Jr. Before I get into the details of it, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're a longtime supporter and subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a lot. This particular video I'm going to dedicate to my man, Subjugated Truths. Thank you so much for your continued support on the channel. Long time subscriber. Thank you very much for your support in the super chats and in the cash apps and in the super thanks that we have. You can see in the lower right hand portion of the video. Thank you guys so much. That is how we're able to continue to do these videos. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. All right, so I'm gonna talk a little bit out of school during this particular video because I got a critique which said, hey, you know, Fanon in the live streams is all prim and proper, or in my videos is all prim and proper, but I will get out a little bit more loose in what I say in the live streams, show a little bit more of my personality. In the videos, typically we do these for about 8 minutes, 10 minutes. It's really just to cover a topic real quickly, let you know what is going on and give you my thoughts on it. In this particular video, though, you know, we have really hammered out this discussion over the last half of this year, or pretty much dang near all of this year, several years, about Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. But Terence Crawford walked away from the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and he gave an interview on an MMA channel in which he said that, you know, he doesn't feel at all any responsibility for why this fight didn't happen, and that, you know, he feels like he accepted everything that he needed to accept in order to make this fight with Errol Spence. Now, first things first, that is just nonsensical. Okay, and shout out to my guy John Muhammad, who came by the channel to debate me on this point. And you lost very badly, let me say, because look, man, you either accept the fight or you don't accept the fight. You don't get to have it both ways. You don't accept everything that you should have accepted, but you say no to the fight and go on ahead and fight somebody else. If you do not accept the fight, you said no to everything because it is a package deal. This is what you're offered. You say yes or no. You can negotiate, go back and forth and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you decide not to take that fight, you decide not to take that fight. Now, there's a whole bunch of people that will talk to, and it's really funny to me because it's almost like you talk out of both sides of your neck at the same time. Because on one hand, you say, you know, we don't know what the negotiation was and all of that, right? But you know, that's the business of boxing. But what we do know of it is what we do know. So we're either going to talk about it with understanding the information that we have. And if that is the case, to me, it looked like at the end of the day, Terence Crawford got everything that he said that he was willing to accept, but at the end of the day, he turned around and walked around and took another fight. If you don't pay any attention to any of the information going on that was rumored to go, that's coming out, not even rumored, coming out of the mouths of Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford and Stephen Espinoza, and you just look at what happened in that particular case, Terence Crawford just walked away from the fight. Now, what I think is, and people ask, well, you know, what's the big deal about it all, right? There's the big deal. And why I don't agree with people that say, well, you just, you know, we don't know what happened, you know, just, you know, Terence Crawford, you know, he made a business decision that is good for him, whatever. And, you know, he's a businessman. He did what's best for him. That's fine. But as boxing fans, I think we should do, or I'm going to do what's best for me as a boxing fan, which is to let people know, man, look, man, boxing fans are in it for the fight. We're for the fights that we get to watch. Whatever the legacy winds up being of a professional boxer, that's all fine and dandy for the professional boxer and the people that in his family members and the people that wind up being lifelong fans of him. That's all fine and dandy. But what we get in real time on in a month, a week in, week out basis, what we can only get in the time that we're in right now is the actual fights to get made. So I'm not a big fan of just excusing a situation where you have where like what Terence Crawford was in. Terence Crawford was in the most defining fight of his career and he turned it down. And to say that, I accepted everything that I was supposed to accept, but then put, 100% of the blame on the other team when you were the one that walked away, I just don't think I think that's a bad precedent to set going forward. When Terence Crawford says that, his legacy is set, there's nothing in that fight for him, that's just not true. This is the first time in Terence Crawford's career that Terence Crawford had a significant amount of people thinking he would lose a fight. He himself said that he had never been in a fight that was a close fight. Right, it wasn't close in the ring and it wasn't close in the predictions heading into the fight. Any fight that that Terence Crawford has fought, maybe since he fought Breidis Prescott moved up to fight Breidis Prescott at 140 for one fight and went back down to 130. Ever since that particular time, Terence Crawford was a wide favorite in any fight that he had, except for Errol Spence Jr. When he unified his belts in 140 pounds, he did not fight anybody that was also like he was, because Terence Crawford is a guy that's been in the top 10 pound for pound for a very long time now. This was the first and only opportunity that Terence Crawford had to fight another guy that was in the top 5 pound for pound. And in fact, Terence Crawford, I do believe, if you look at the consensus of who's in that top 10, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence are the only people that even have an opportunity to do so. Because what other weight class do you have two people that are amongst everybody pretty much that, the mainstream media says, okay, these two guys in this weight class are both top 5 pound for pound? Nobody. The only possible exception to that could be Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, where some people have Tyson Fury in the top 10 and Alexander Usyk in the top 10. But also, interestingly enough, that fight also has a guy that has 1 belt and another guy that has 3 belts. But that is a huge fight for Terence Crawford, and there's no way around it. And it's a huge fight for boxing fans and for their interest in the value that they get out of being boxing fans and supporters of Terence Crawford for years. People were not buying and interested in Terence Crawford fighting Sean Porter and fighting any of these fights at 147 pounds just to be interested in seeing Terence Crawford fight Amir Khan or thinking that was some risk. It wasn't. Neither was Kell Brook, neither was Sean Porter, neither was, with the exception of Jeff Horn, which is the one that he took to get the belt. None of those fights were things that were really the idea that people were interested in the fight based on the fight itself. It was all about the potential of seeing him fight Errol Spence Jr. And to walk away from that, to me, is not something that people should take lightly and be, that's Bud, Bud gets with Bud. No, man. It's so disappointing to boxing fans. And at the very least, Bud can deal with the ramifications of being responsible for doing that. Now, some people can say, Errol Spence Jr. is responsible for it. Well, then fine. Then go ahead and spend your time focusing on putting the blame on Errol Spence so that maybe Errol Spence, if that's what you believe, can change whatever he needs to do. But just to blame it just blandly on boxing and, that's boxing, that's just, no, it's not. Not in this particular instance. In this particular instance, it was one guy walking away from the fight, and that was Terence Crawford. And it is what it is. Now, as far as him feeling comfortable that he has none of the blame and none of the responsibility for that, dude, how is that being a boss? If you're the boss, the buck stops with you. If it was your decision that you didn't like that package or whatever it was, you just say, hey, you can say, look, that was my decision. I decided to do something else and stand on that. But to not take any responsibility for a decision that you make and then put it all on the people that did not turn the fight down and quite honestly gave up a lot of stuff that a lot of people would not have to make it happen, just doesn't seem right to me. But anyway, like I said, this will be a little bit more of a vent video. It is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.